This is just going to be some thoughts about switching my truck gun, the reasons for doing it, and the decisions and ripple effects that go along with making the decision to do it. Now, the idea of a truck gun can be controversial in itself, leaving a firearm in your vehicle. I can understand why some folks would think that's a bad idea, and I get that. Personally, I keep mine padlocked with a chain to a framing member of the vehicle. So someone with a set of bolt cutters or an electric saw or even a hacksaw could get to it, but your typical smash and grab burglar is absolutely not. That's why I use a padlock and chain around the framing member, make it a whole lot more difficult for someone to snatch it. In addition to reducing the risk of it being stolen, I also want to reduce the risk or the degree of loss if it were to be stolen or damaged. I would much prefer to have my favorite AR in there if push ever really did come to shove in that bad of a way, but frankly the accessories on that gun cost more than this entire gun does. So there is that level of loss risk. Quite honestly, if I still had my M1 carbines, that's what I would use. I bought those so long ago. I paid $159 a piece for them, but I don't have them anymore. I sold them off several years ago when I was selling off numerous guns. But in my opinion, if you found a way to secure them in your vehicle to reduce the risk of someone getting their hands on it, I think that makes a great option. But that's not an option because I sold them. So the gun itself is very simple, very basic. A Ruger PC Charger, uses the Glock magazines, 9mm caliber, folding brace on it. On the folding brace, that brace rule has been fought and lost and fought and won repeatedly. So what I've done on this one, if you can see it here, oh, that's as far as it'll let me zoom in. And just on the off chance it ever came up, if the brace ever did need to be removed, the wrench to do it is secured to the brace itself with Gorilla Tape, held in place with compressible foam earplugs to fit the mounting bracket of the brace, so it can be literally removed with no notice, no warning, instantly, with no other tools other than what's already attached to it. The red dot is a very inexpensive Bushnell TRS 125. It's the only one of these I've ever owned. I've had a couple of the TRS 25s, the older version from, Lord, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And they were great. This one has worked flawlessly. I did have to buy a riser to put it on there just because the height over bore is different than on the AR, and it's the only way for my big old head to really view it. And the light is a Mini Scout from Surefire. Not the brightest light, but it'll work for my needs. And that's the extent of it. I'll pop a picture up in there of what I'm talking about regarding the padlock and the chain. I really recommend that, even though when I was young I didn't do that, but I don't know if I'm smarter or just more risk averse now, but I really think it's best to secure it as much as possible to reduce the risk of some goblin getting a hold of it and to reduce the risk of loss if some goblin is able to remove it. So anyway, that's the extent of it. I may pop a short little clip of chronographing a load or two through it. I've chronographed numerous loads through a little 5-inch Banshee I have and a 16-inch carbine. So this would be in between the two. This has a 6.5-inch barrel. The barrel is removable, but I don't bother with that. It's compact enough as it is. But anyway, that's the extent of my thinking on a quote-unquote truck gun. And now my Banshee is something I can actually use both recreationally and for potential serious purposes. It's such a neat little gun. It's substantially more expensive than this, but this one has been 100% reliable in the, I don't know, 800 or 900 rounds I've put through it, enough for me to trust it. I've never had a single bobble with it of any kind. So I'm very happy with that. It's a direct blowback, so there is a little more recoil than with the radial delayed blowback of the Banshee, but if you pardon me saying so, if you can't handle the recoil of a 9mm, you need to step away from the shooting range and maybe hit the gym. But that's just grumpy old me talking. But using this as my truck gun will allow me to use the Banshee for both playing around the property and also, again, for potential serious purposes. It is a very, very capable little gun. So that's the extent of it. I'll stick a picture of this gun in the truck with the chain and padlock and everything, and maybe what my plans are for the Banshee as well. So appreciate it. Y'all have a good week. And these are the contents of that black lockbox you see in the same picture with the little PC charger. Just 3 magazines, one of which has those 68 grain plus P loads, extra batteries for the light and for the red dot, and also a Ziploc bag with a single point sling. And that is the extent of it.